Yeah, they can.
All right, there's Rajesh as well. All right, I think we have pretty much everyone, Coach. And we
Great,
are starting.
perfect. Yeah,
Super.
yeah, looks good.
Cool. So I'll let them start, Coach. So basically, there's a couple of questions the guys have
For
regarding their
sure.
new zones and what is this FRC and all of that, and how to where to go next, like what to do next is their question. So anyway,
Oh
I'll
yeah.
I'll leave it to them and to you guys to talk more about this. Yeah.
Sure, thanks. Yeah, welcome everybody. First of all, and sorry I messed up. I didn't even have we were in the car and I didn't even have the chance to get on the internet. So if you want to ever come to quiet German area around our house, that's the best thing.
Coach, do I smell a German training camp?
There will be. I think there will be one in probably May to April of next year. Yeah.
Awesome. I think
Yeah.
let's plan for that then.
You
I'm gonna have to
definitely.
convince my family that I have business in Germany.
Yeah, and a lot of you guys do, right? I mean, you travel a lot, and a lot of you have connections to Germany as well. So yeah, it's awesome. And our region is where we have a lot of vineyards, and you can climb like everywhere. You can either go on the riverbed and basically get no elevation at all, or you can climb like crazy left and right of the riverbed because it's like a really steep valley. So
it sounds awesome, Coach.
Yeah, it's really nice. It's an awesome place to do a yeah. Whatever you wanna do, get some base or really get get race ready. You can do it all. Yeah, it's sometimes I think it's even better than Mallorca. If the weather is a little bit on the safe side and on the and has a good mood.
Understood,
Yeah.
Coach.
Okay, so yeah, let's start with your questions. I mean, it's all about you. It's all for you. So just go ahead and ask some questions. I hope everybody got the idea of what we are doing with the two groups, hopefully. But I can explain that in detail as well. And hopefully at the end of the week, you all see how it should be working or what is a common workout for everybody and where do we split the groups. But yeah, let's just open up for questions.
Yeah, Coach, so I'd a couple of basic questions first, a couple of which we asked on the group as well earlier. One was, I mean, most of us have this hybrid TT setup on our bikes. So should we do all these workouts with our hands on the handlebar in the road position, or can we do something in the TT position? That's something.
Yeah. So position-wise, you need to look at it this way. If, for example, you are, let me just check the groups again. Yeah, if for example, you are doing VO2s today or on Sunday, right? It's super beneficial if you want to have like VO2, meaning we want to get the maximum aerobic intake, uptake of the body, right? And the maximum oxygen consumption. In order to do that, it would be counterproductive to be in the TT position. Why? Because then you would restrict blood flow to a certain point because the hip angle gets closed down. And as well, you are in a crunch position up front, right? Where the lungs are not fully open, right? So doing these kind of super hard efforts, right? It's more beneficial to do them in a kind of more upright position or the like classic road position. However, on the other side, doing some sweet spot work, doing tempo work and stuff like that. Yeah, why not sit in the aero position, right? And getting closer to FTP, I think it's more of a, you need to think more about when is my event? because you probably can push longer and harder if you're in the road bike position. Just looking at the pure power, right? Not looking at speed. In the end, though, it's the timing which counts, right? So it's the more speed you have, the faster you are, the less the timing. So in the end, you want to basically be more specific and then taper towards the TT position, basically. That's how I would look at this. But like anaerobic efforts, and obviously also, yeah, I mean, if it's a sprint, yeah, obviously you can do that in the time trial position. But the faster the bike goes as well, and the more the road isn't that super smooth, right? The better it would be to be in the road position, just to have the handling as well, because that's the other thing. The bike just doesn't handle well, right? If you're in that kind of hybrid position or on a real TT bike slash triathlon bike, right? Because they just, I mean, they like to go straight and aerodynamic, but that's basically the thing.
Understood, Coach. Since you had mentioned sprints, we'd like to get some pointers or some video reference, because on how to do sprints the right way on flats, because sometimes when I try sprints, I don't know, I'm not consistent with the way I execute it. So sometimes I feel that I'm losing balance in one direction, you know. There's something wrong about what I'm doing. So I'm sure a lot of people have faced that situation, because I see in quite a few workouts, you say out of saddle efforts. So when I do it on the road, I feel that I'm not consistent. Sometimes I feel like I'm perfectly in control, but sometimes I feel that I'm out of balance, you know. So either some suggestions that you can give or some link or a video after the session which can help us.
Yeah. So especially for sprints, I mean, with the sprints, we go high with the power. Initially, let's just talk about sprints from a power perspective, right? So not to be aero as well, and because there are a lot of things which, in the end, if you want to do a real finishing sprint, you need to be aero, you need to be low, like look at Cavendish, right? The butt is up, right, and the head is super down, yeah. So there are a lot more things to do it, but let's just first of all look at the power thing. So in order to get that high power, now we need a high cadence, and probably the highest cadence we as regular cyclists do for most of the time, and which might also be the problem. And then we need to stump the pedals as well, right? Because since they go so fast, you need to hit the pedal quite at the right time before it moves up again. That's the other thing, right? So it usually all comes and goes with the cadence, I guess, the control on the high power. Let's just put it high power for now. So the perfect example would be like the cadence sprints workout we had on Wednesday, where you actually force yourself to do a much higher cadence than you would. You actually switch the gears in the wrong direction just to get the legs spinning even more. And it's more like a passive spinning, right? It's not like you actively hitting the pedals, but it's like shifting the wrong way and then needing to pedal super fast. But that's honestly the thing you can see those real sprinters do as well, right? And that's, first of all, the coordination is crucial on that one. So what you need to be able to do is high cadence. And once you're able to do the high cadence, and doing the high cadence still provides some pushes on the pedals to get some force out, to get even a higher power. If you're able to do that in a kind of normal road position, then I would try to really go into what I would say is the real sprinting now, to do some practice sprints, right? So to be able to go low as well with the upper body and still be able to do 120, 130 RPM while still controlling the bike. So, because if we talk about real sprints, that's what we need to do. You need to pedal.
High power at high cadence.
Yeah, you need to look at it like a combustion engine, or like your car engine, right? Not electric. we talk about the real engines. No, I mean the usual engines we know, because you know that if you shift into a gear, right, and you want to do the quickest start you can with the car, you need to ramp up the RPM first before you let go of the clutch, right? Otherwise, if you start slower, you might, if you have a diesel engine, for example, the diesel has some force, right? So if the clutch comes out, the diesel might be able to push you towards the first, or to increase the speed out of the standing position and push you just by the force of it, right? But a regular, like a two-stroke, for example, couldn't just do the trick, right? Because cylinders are too small, everything is too small in there, so it would just die down if you get let go of the clutch. And it's the same. So for sprinting, we need high cadence and still the force on the pedal, yeah. Because you can, I mean, for everybody in this group, I would guess 110 to 130 RPM. That's probably the RPM you will have on your highest power. So doing the Pmax efforts, for example, if you didn't reach 130, so you at least went over that peak, right? Because power comes up, and then there is the highest power, and then it goes down. So you need to at least reach 130 RPM. Otherwise, you didn't even try hard enough.
I've been talking of the Pmax. We were just going through the new power zone classifications, and that's when I saw what Pmax was. So you're talking about 600 watts at 130 RPM. Probably upwards of 600 watts.
Yeah. Correct.
Can't even think about it.
Yeah, it's obviously sprinting is if you look at the force on the pedals, it's not a circular motion. It can't be, and it never will be, because you actually are only left with your strong fibers, your strong muscle fibers, right? The fast twitch fibers who actually spike, who can actually do the spike, because the slow twitch fibers won't be that fast. And it's actually the relaxation. So the slow twitch fibers are not that fast to relax again. So with that high RPM, they can't cope. So it's only the fast twitchers. And that's kind of, I also think with your aims you have for cycling, it's a little bit countering that, right? Because you all tend to go longer and on a steady pace, right? Sprinting is the exact opposite. It's just pure hammering those pedals when they are up front, and nothing else, right? So it's just spike, left, right. That's basically sprinting. Yeah.
Understood, coach. So we'll try out these pointers before we ask any further questions.
Yeah. Be able to do 170 RPM with only minor strength, but be able to pedal with 170 at least for a few seconds before
170.
170 RPM. Yeah, you can do that. Try it. You can do it. Not for long, and it's fatiguing, and you'll also feel the coordination limit in your case then, and that might even be 180, 190 for you. For another one, it's like tough to reach the 140 initially, but it'll come eventually. Just do it at the end of the ride, not as a cool down, obviously, before the cool down, but at the end of the ride, why not spin really fast and try it out? Yeah.
Will do. Thanks, coach. And the other thing is about.
Yep. I lost.
Yeah, I think we lost you, Vikram.
Yeah.
Hear me now?
Yeah. Now
can you hear me now?
Yeah, we can.
Yeah, sorry. So this is regarding the indoor workouts and ERG mode. When should we have ERG on and when should we have it off?
I would play around with it, honestly, because sometimes it's nice to just hop on the bike, and the ERG mode, right? It just gives you whatever watts you want to do, right? No matter on if you pay attention to the cadence, if it's 60 or 80, the trainer will do the trick, right? Sometimes that's beneficial. Doing it all the time probably gets you to a point where you just hop on and do like an 80 cadence all day long, right? Because the trainer will do the rest. So having like an endurance ride on some, I use the ERG mode and just do the ERG mode and ride with along. But on others, even if it's the same profile, I switch it off just to be able to shift a bit, to basically follow elevations a little bit, right? To get the grades like they are depicted in your legs as well. Need to shift gears, and it's actually, if it's like a 3-hour ride, it's actually a more not so boring ride than in ERG, because you need to shift and you need to pay a little bit of a extra attention, I would say. Yeah, but nevertheless, on even on hard, like 30-second intervals or efforts, right? I sometimes even use ERG just to power and not have to think about anything, just to see the seconds counting down, right? And running down. And I know, okay, another 5 seconds, another 4 seconds. That's also sometimes beneficial. On the other hand, if you want to do a real all out, then it might also be good to switch off the ERG mode, obviously, before like a 30-second hard effort, and then just power it out, right, for the 30 seconds. So
please go ahead.
Yeah, do it 50% each, and you'll have the benefit of everything, right? Yeah. So if after a hard work day, switch it on.
We had these VO2 max intervals for 5 minutes. There were 3 such intervals. I had ERG mode on for the entire ride, and the first interval I could complete the 5 minutes, but the second and third intervals I could barely do about 2 minutes or so. So should I have instead switched off ERG mode and continued riding with the maximum intensity that I could in such a scenario?
If it's above threshold, yes, you could. Probably there's another thing which you might want to consider. Most of the time, it's the lack of sugars, maybe. So if you can complete one and then only get to 50% or less on the second one, right? It might be a factor of you not having eaten enough and not having the sugar, the carbs or the glycogen, honestly, in the muscle. So most of the times, if you, especially on the VO2s, if you can complete one and you fail the second one, just relax on the bike, have a banana, have a gel, have a whatever sugary drink, right? Even a Coke would do the trick at this point, and then try another one. It's also the manipulation of the central governor, which is our brain, our head, our feeling at that point, right? Because the brain senses how much blood sugar is in your system, and if this one drops low, the brain is angry or gets angry and doesn't want to perform. So just feed it, try again, and you'll see if that one is the case, right? If it's the muscles, yeah, it might be, and then as you said, reduce it a little bit, switch the ERG mode off, or maybe only leave the ERG mode in and reduce by maybe 5% and try again.
Understood, Coach.
If you need to reduce below your threshold, stop it. Okay, you only fatigue yourself, but it's not doing any good.
Understood, Coach. Yeah, Hari, you wanted to ask something?
Yeah. Hi, Coach. I'll just switch on the camera. So.
Hi,
Coach. I have a specific question with respect to my kind of metabolism, Coach. Like, See, whenever I take, say, for example, a week off from the bike, what happens is like my heart rate goes like wild, very wild. So recently I was like close to 2 weeks out of like any kind of training because I was down with typhoid. So I'm just coming out of it and starting my intervals again. So if you see that in these 10 days to 2 weeks, I've seen my heart rate hit numbers I've not seen for a very, very, very long time. So it's like going around 190, 192 and all, like for a reasonably uh, low efforts, I would say like less than my FTP, it's hitting those numbers. So I've seen this happen quite often, coach. Like it happens every time when I take an off for, say, for example, even for less than a week, like 4 to 5 days or a week. I don't see these high numbers, but I see my heart rate goes like this. And is it a normal thing, or is there something that I need to work on? Because when I continuously keep riding, it doesn't happen this way. Like 1 or 2 days is fine. Like when I take more than 5 days a week or a week, it goes like this.
Okay. So did you only have the heart rate or do you also have the power?
No, I do have the power as well. I have a trainer and a
yeah,
SEMR.
okay. So as long as two things basically, as long as the power and the heart rate follow themselves, right? So higher power demands higher heart rate. As long as this is true, it's not so bad.
Okay.
At the end of the effort, you should also see the heart rate drop, obviously.
Correct.
But
that is happening. But what I'm referring here is such like the input to output ratio. So I track that in intervals.icu. So for the effort for the heart rate, so it drops considerably after a small break, say for example 4 to 5 days or a week's time. And it takes a lot of effort for me to bring it back to where it was originally. So I would want you to see like if there is something that I need to work on specifically, or is it normal, or it varies from person to person because metabolism varies. I'm not worried per se, but what I'm worried is like to bring it back, it takes another 10 days for me to work out really hard to bring it back to where it was.
Let me hop into your.
And while you see that, I will just have one more question that is on my mind, coach. Like, so I've been using Elite Suito trainer for close to now 3.5, 4 years. So the point is like, whenever I see a Wahoo trainer, the power curves are pretty much on dot to what is being demanded. So you hit the numbers, it's like almost matching like a sine wave graph, like very precise. So my graphs, if you see that, uh, even if I do an erg mode, even if I do it on a resistance mode, it goes up and down. And for that interval, I will hit the average numbers that are thrown at me. But I just want to know: is it really because of a trainer, or is it really something to do with? Because I tried many things like comparing with DC Rainmakers. There is a application that you can download and compare it. I compared my trainer's number and my power pedal numbers. So both seem to be fine. So
it's all smoothing. It's more a technique.
Okay.
It's a smoothing
of
the trainer. And the trainers you also will see different responses. Like they often talk about trainers with a flywheel, right? So how big is the flywheel? How heavy is your trainer? Whatever. And another thing, which is basically close to the feeling, right? So riding up a hill and riding on the flat grounds, we know feels different, right? And the trainers feel different as well because they simulate or emulate the thing better, worse, whatever, right? So yeah, that's a deal basically. But with the power numbers, yeah, I know they are super flat, right? And you're like, Well, but
it's more kind of an envious thing. Like when I see those numbers, especially from a Wahoo trainer, no? It's like almost
think
perfect.
about it. Yeah. But think about it in a different way. I mean, they need to. Usually the recording is like every second, right? So if, with 60 RPM, you have basically one side in that 1 second. If you do one like a 90 RPM, there's like one there, right? So the spikes of the force can be more or less, even if you just go with the window. So actually, the other I like the stochastic curves more because it's more like natural riding. Look at the ride outdoors. It's the same way. Yeah, it's just not. Yeah. So the heart rate you can see with you is actually okay, but yet there is a little bit of I guess wait until your fitness is another 10 points. So if you're between 50 and 60, I think then rate will settle down. It's not so bad, honestly. The like I'm always checking the heart rate drift, right? So if you do like an intense effort and I check the drift, it's not so bad. It's just at the moment you're getting a little watts out of every beat of the heart. So it should, but it's not drifting like crazy upwards. So that's good. So
thanks for this.
But you probably need a little bit more chronic load. So just just be consistent.
And the current FTP that you have given me for the Group B, I will take that for at least for the next couple of weeks, Coach. Like it seems it's like too low, but I am happy that you have given that because I'm just on the way coming out of my health setback. So I'm happy that it's on the lower side. So anyway, I will be taking a quick FTP test which I missed out while others were doing it. So I'll update you on that. Not immediately. I'm not planning to do an FTP. So probably a couple of weeks down the line, I'll do it. Till then, I'll keep this FTP.
Yeah. And let me tell you one thing about the FTP. So in your case, you can see that your FTP number is a little bit lower, but it's connected to an hour, right?
Correct.
So which means that the powers that the maximum power you showed over the duration is pretty flat towards the end. That's why a lower FTP isn't that bad. So you cannot just compare FTPs by the number, right? It's also am I capable of holding it? So that's the other which is super important. And for you, especially in your case, then like the 20-minute FTP test will probably, especially after we do now, you're in Group B, right? So you're gonna do some efforts. It's probably gonna drift away, but yeah, the 20-minute test is just a 20-minute test, and it doesn't tell you anything. It tells you how much are you capable of doing in 20 minutes. That's the result.
Yeah.
FTP is a lot more, right? So with the
would the 4DP be more useful if I do it, Coach? Like this 4DP?
Yeah. Like do an hour or do the 40 kilometers, almost the same, or like 40 minutes. Like the 4 minutes. It's a lot because it's double the time than the 20-minute test, right? So it's that's really super high, dependent on the aerobic side, and you can't just do the trick with a big anaerobic engine still. So and that's what we wanna get. That's why I also give you two numbers, because FTP is like super aerobic. But the VO number I gave you, which is
I saw that considerably higher.
It has correct, and it has a big part of anaerobic abilities with it, right? Because it's also at shorter duration, right? So that's where you can see. And I give those two numbers because it just doesn't do the trick. If I tell every one of you, hey, write at 130% FTP, because your differences are for one, it might be 110% of P, his VO2, right? Then we need to bump it up. Then you're in group B. For others, it's the other way, right? It's 135. Okay, so they can get more economic to really use that VO2, and that's basically what we did there. Yeah, that's why I give the two numbers.
Thank you, Coach. Thanks for this clear cut explanation, especially on my heartbeat.
Yeah, sure. And one more thing from Vikram, your question with the 5 minutes, right, on the VO2s. For everyone, I have a time and a VO2 wattage, right? So even if the workout says 5 minutes, you need to adjust the timing for your timing, right? And for your wattage goal. Make sense? So
should I actually change the timing of the workout accordingly?
Yeah. Let me see what I gave you. Hold on. For you, it should be. There we go.
You told me 275 for 4 minutes.
Yeah. You need to do 4.
Although the workout was for 5 minutes, I should have changed it to 4 minutes.
Yeah. So you need to do the all of the intervals at 4 minutes. Yeah. That's how it's connected. Yeah. Sorry. Probably. Well, for the next time,
Okay. Yeah, I know. The same workout repeats on Sunday as well.
Yeah. Do 4 minutes, and it's
okay.
And then you can do 4 times 4 minutes. Yeah, actually try to do it. I know I had down 3, and then a longer endurance part of it. But you can even try 4, I guess.
Okay, I'll try 4.
Eventually, next week we bump it up to 4.
Oh, okay.
And then we also alter like a different to have a different like a microbursts setup as well. But yeah,
great.
It's gonna.
I mean, I'm actually happy that over the last 1 month my FTP has had almost a +10 after I started your training program. So I'm happy about yeah.
Excellent. Yeah.
So yeah, and also I wanted to understand from the same data that you've given me, there's an FTP, yes. There's an FRC which is 12,1. How do I understand that, and the VO2 max as well?
It's basically kilojoules of energy you're able to expend above threshold. So what does it mean? I mean, if you're able to do like 30 seconds, and you can do over that 30 seconds, you do 100 watts above your FTP, right? That means 30 times 100 is 3,000. So the number would be 3.0 FRC then, see? And that's what the number says. So you are able to do 12,100 joule work in one interval above your threshold. That's basically what the number says. And just to give you an idea, like around a 12 is great for a guy who wants to do time trials. Not so good for a guy who wants to do road races. And bad for somebody who wants to do mountain bike cross-country racing. Because just to give you a little bit of an idea, I mean, mountain bike racers, they probably need to have a 25, yeah, maybe a little higher. So double your amount. However, they won't have an FTP of around an hour, right, or above 50 minutes, because that's what they don't need. They just need to go super hard up the up short mountains or short climbs, right? Then they have a downhill part where they can kind of relax. and then it's another one, right? So they're just doing repeated efforts. So the FTP of a mountain bike rider has to be a little shorter, and will be shorter. The VO2 needs to be super high as the FRC, because that's what really counts, right? Those 30 meters up that super high cliff and with some rocks in it, even to jump above or almost jump above, right? So that's what I need to do. So it's all a matter of what's the demand of the race.
Understood, Coach. Coach, I think we'll have to rejoin the meeting because it's going to end now.
Yeah, we can, for sure. Yeah.
So, Coach, I've sent another link to the WhatsApp group. So we can also join that. Yeah.
Yeah.
So
Let's do it.
thank you.